guys, welcome back to the Art Crucible. So I was just checking over my notes over some of the topics we're going to talk about today. The first thing I want to talk about is the importance of cross-training as it relates to developing better skills in your art, whether it's painting or drawing. Just like cross-training for athletes, right? Baseball, basketball. In basketball, it's not just the shots that you're seeing going in, or the infield shots or home runs that they're hitting. They're in the training, they're intricately working on swings at every single turn of the waist, the placement of their feet, the leverage. A basketball player is working on the crossover, hand placement of the ball, fadeaways, layups, multiple times, right? And so it's going to be the same thing for someone in the arts. It's not that you can't just draw on the same surface over and over again, but let's talk about flexibility, right? In the workplace as an analogy too. When you put that you're adaptable or you're flexible on your resume, they're going to expect that. So if you find yourself knowing how to do one skill, and that system goes down, and they need you to move over to do something else that is similar with maybe different software. If you said that you're adaptable, and you go in there and you drown, that's kind of the point here as far as cross-training is concerned. So if that person is flexible in the mind, they understand the subset of tools that they're used to, and they can use them well and can adapt them to a new situation, whether it's just for art, right? If you're used to drawing small, but they need you to draw something 18 by 24 in that scale, and you've never done that before, how would you adapt? So if you didn't cross-train in drawing in different scales, that's going to become an issue. So those are some of the things we'll talk about today, and I'll mention a few tools that I use as far as, in the last video, I'm on the drawing board with the 18 by 24 charcoal drawings, right? And so that develops good shoulder movement, good hand-eye coordination on larger scales, and in turn that's going to translate to better painting skills, just by the nature that you're holding the instrument, right? You're holding the charcoal pencil similarly to how you're going to hold a paintbrush. And for graphite, obviously you're holding it as if you're writing, but for graphite you're going to be drawing in smaller areas. You're not going to be doing things so much by paint strokes, except for maybe the initial stages of constructions. And you're always going to be going from large to small either way, so you are developing that hand and eye coordination, that dexterity to go from big to small fairly efficiently, especially when it comes to the details. Any notebook really works, but like, for instance, the size, if you guys have heard of Muji in the city or Kinokuniya, you can get any of these really. It's just a simple blank notebook. You can, whatever you get and you tend to feel that you're going to like drawing on, or buy it in bulk, buy a few of them. This one, I tend to, since I was in industrial design, we tend to just use copy paper because it was so cheap, and a lot of the times we would use pen. And drawing in pen was a great way to develop your sensitivity to the smoothness and the quick nature of like fast sketching for industrial design. It's not so much that you are trying to get the best illustration, you're trying to get generate quick ideas, and so your focus wasn't so much on like how great the drawing turned out. It needed to be legible to convey your ideas. And so I got used to a little bit more smoother paper that works with both pen or graphite. I'm not too strong with working with toothy paper. It's just something that I'm not used to. So whatever you can find yourself getting used to, go ahead and use that. Again, speaking about scale, This is about the size, I don't know, 10 inches or so, about the size of an iPad. No, the 12.9 inch iPad. Larger size, I think this one's like a 9 by 12. And then this, speaking about the challenges of trying different types of paper too. So this one, while this one was not as smooth, I mean, it does have some resistance. This one, I thought I was going to use this as an agenda. So this is like the Hobonichi on the jetpens.com website. But I ended up just sort of starting out sketching stuff. With these, you're just a standard graphite pencil in various weights. This was 1.3 thick line weight. It doesn't really matter which size so much, because you're going to be building up values based on the soft or hardness of that graphite pencil. But the point is look at how small this is. Like, if that's not going to develop good dexterity, I don't know what will. And it will also translate to better paintings. Because I still initially, I would put this on, for example, just this board. It's not something I use my drafting table, but a board like this, and I'll make mention of it in a second. I'd still hold the pencil like this when I'm doing the constructions. Just because I want to develop painting skills. But, after that, I would go, to traditional graphite drawing, working out the details. Anything that's larger or, that you're needed to get a, back up from it and get an overview, holding the pen like this or the pencil is so much nicer. So, I'd encourage to try to build your construction using or holding the pencil this way. And then whenever you're going in the details that are a little more difficult, you can try to use this method, but it is easier in different ways to use it this way. So again, that's another form of cross training. You're building up the dexterity. You're making it's lending itself to you being a more flexible artist. So if you were to do jobs for someone, your confidence comes from your experience. And so you can just pull from that toolbox from whatever problem that you're dealing with, and you will have less anxiety for it. So yeah, and then let's see, so bring out the handy tool because my mind is a mess. So on the importance of cross-training, there's also doing things efficiently, right? So you can train all you want. That doesn't mean you're getting better. And so whatever time that you're putting in, there is that, it's the Parkinson's law. It's, work expands itself to, fill the time needed for completion of something. And so we fall within that trap easily. That's procrastination, right? So you got 2 weeks to do something. You think you got a full 2 weeks. And you could probably actually get the project done in 4 hours. But you will use that full 2 weeks instead, just knowing that you have it. And so the work will expand to the time frame that you give it. And so one, obviously a good way to challenge yourself is the compression of time. You'll allow yourself to eliminate the distractions. By doing that, a simple stopwatch, stop clock. For these in particular, so this is not too old, a couple years old, but I challenged myself. Eventually, after I started just messing around and wasn't sure if I was going to use this as a calendar, I just decided to draw 30 minutes. That was my max time, 30 minutes every day. So you can see it started on, was that April? April 3rd. April 3rd. Every day. 30 minutes on the clock. And, whatever was done within that time was going to be done. I wasn't going to go over. I wasn't going to rush. If it turned out to be crap, then that's what it was going to be. It was going to be crap. Every day. 30 minutes. And if you're working full time and you're always like, oh, I just don't have time to do these things. If you want to do them, you'll find the time. And so it became challenging. And one of the things you could do is, again, find your interest. Like the last video I spoke about, if you're using reference, and you're interested, it's going to have more staying power. And so to, spurn me on, to keep me going each weekend, typically, or every other week, there's fights going on. And, whatever fighter was going, I would draw those characters next to each other. So it's like Kelvin Gastelum versus Robert Whittaker. And then the next day it was, yes, Pinterest. So it's not that Pinterest is bad. It's just obviously it's got some issues going on, but that's really besides the point. You can find reference anywhere. Doesn't matter. So just pick something, throw the clock on, and fill the time. Rose Namajunas versus Zhang Weili. I think that was for the title fight. And I think Zhang Weili actually lost. But yeah, that was a great, I don't know, it was like a great support. I was like, man, I am getting burned out. It's easy to feel that way because you want to draw what you want to draw, and that's not always as easy. So I'm still drawing outside of these sessions, right? So these, in my mind, I know that I'm cross-training with graphite in a smaller scale. So the amount of efficient skill building exercises I would highly encourage to try something. I mean, you could call it 100 heads. Any time of exercise you can do to do it repetitively, you're gonna get a stronger command. Like having a skull sat next to you while you're drawing this. Anything that will support your skill building. And so yeah, day by day by day by day by day, going and going. So in this paper, so back to cross-training, using different types of paper, getting comfortable with super slick and things that have more resistance, right? This one, if you want to look it up, it's Tomoe paper. So it was really designed as, an agenda for any type of inks. So it goes on really smooth. It's very slick for graphite. It was tough. I mean, there's failures upon failures of the references that I was using, but you got used to it. And I'm still drawing charcoal. Still using the good old charcoal pencil on the 18 by 24 on the drawing board. So you're going back and forth and back and forth. And there's a comfort in knowing that the skills and the cross training you're getting, you can take solace in that and support in that. So whatever type of job you do, if you're doing commissions or something like this, you have command. You can fall back on your training. If there's a problem that arises, you can always fall back on your understanding of what you know. When you don't know, it's like you're drowning, right? So in fighting for the UFC, a lot of the fighters will say, whether it's kicking, punching, or whatnot, the number one thing that they're afraid of is getting tired, and that will be the end of that for them, if they cannot sustain their energy levels for 5 rounds, if it goes that long. And so it's just one of those things, you just want to round out your game, right? So cross training is great. And then let's see, what do we have here? Yeah, it's still talking about a brief on tools. I just want to try to stay on track here. The challenge of 100 heads. We've talked about the timing. We've talked about the scale of drawing formats. And so just to touch on a few more drawings. This was just at work. And so anytime that you have, take a small notebook with you. Get out of the house if it's not even at work, obviously. Go out of the house. It's easy as artists to be insular inside of our attics of a brain. We want to be inside thinking that we're like melting everything together, like the crucible. But you want to get inspiration from outside the world. So go outside, go to a park. If you don't want to go anywhere, just step outside your door and then take a notebook. And one of the cool things is, so I did some Watts training stuff. They provided PDFs for whatever video that you were working on. It's not reproducing it for sale. These were available to you. And so what I did, I would take the PDFs, chop them up, print them, get them laminated, and then now you can take them with you, clip them to your paper, and then study from there. So it's like, put your phone down, right? And then pull these out and draw instead. And so yeah, it doesn't have to be from Watts, obviously, but you can create your own training tools. Like you can Google drawing the face, right? Anything. Print it out, go to Staples or something, and make a study tool. So this was the eye, horizontally, vertically, and take those with you when you're out drawing. And this was, where was this? This was in New York when I went to Whole Foods. I just sat there in the lunch place, just eating before I was going to Donato Giancola's open house, where he shared a lot of his paintings, original paintings and drawings and things. Like you can buy some of his stuff. Oh yeah, this was one, Middle Earth, signed. Yeah, so I mean, I was so inspired by, the walkway when he met us at the door. Like I was just sitting in the front of his, fenced, apartment building or whatnot, and then he came out, and that's kind of what it felt like. I mean, like just a mythical figure that you're hugely inspired by, and yeah, I drew that, and so just. If I didn't have this notebook, that probably wouldn't have happened. So just keep your, a small set of tools with you at all times. Okay, and then we'll move on to, again, the scale of painting. This was another thing. So in painting, very tiny, a little blick, canvas. The difference between drawing painting on canvas and then drawing painting on hardwood board. So, a small scale skull, a larger scale skull. It's the same canvas, I believe. This might be a Blick. This was a Fredericks. It was a burn umber pick out combined with actual painting. So, and then the joy of analog is that you can. Have a piece that you can have forever, right? And you can always go back to digital drawing if you want, but just learning, cross-training your skills. It just feels good, and because an artist can get tired out. So, the whole stepping outside, plein air painting if you want or whatever. Okay, and then this is canvas too, but it's just like tear off sheets. This was just a little impromptu Halloween painting, and it's got about 2 months more to go before I can put some varnish on this, and then go out and find a cool frame. Yes. Okay, yeah, and then quickly on these tools. This is something I use a lot. It's on Amazon. You can get it. It's really a book holder. 101. Yeah, you can look 101. You can look 101 book holder. I believe you should be able to just find it. But it's nice. You can set the notebook on there. Right? More studies. Set it on there. That's great for drawing or setting up a book for your reference. It's just got simple latches at any angle. You can draw it flat. Switch it as a book holder or lay it flat like this. I mean, this tool is invaluable and it's not that expensive. I think 10 to 15. This is for the smallest one. Take this with you anywhere. You can set it up for painting or drawing or whatever. Fits in a bag easily. And then there's the 101, the 102. I'll just stack them on top of each other. It's a little wider. And then the big boy, it's 103. Yeah, those are invaluable tools. Amazon. And then, yeah, of course, to keep my brain on track, I just put one on a vase amount. Okay, yep. Oh yeah, and then another thing is keeping these on a reference. So it's a rather larger book, but I just tend to keep this book out on a table, so I'm not even necessarily studying it, but I always have it open so I can just look at it and be inspired or be reminded of just striving to be better every day. Like not that you're gonna reach Mead Schaefer, but it's just one of those things. And then I just wanted to share this freaking painting here. I mean, that is just too much. I think it's this book is hard to find, really hard to find. If you go to, I think it's NG, it might be a Vietnamese name, but something NG Stewart or something, books. You can find a lot of these hard to find art books there. He usually grabs them he doesn't he's not a scalper, but he'll, it ensures that everybody actually is able to get a copy of their harder to find books. And sometimes the Illustrated Press will push out another a round of them if knowing that not everybody didn't get them. This one's quite high, but I cannot recommend more Mead Schaefer as far as the golden age illustrators. Dean Cornwell was his teacher, but I enjoy this book more. So there's Dean Cornwell. This one is easier to get than this guy. So I mean, they did all the editorials back in the golden age, like Three Musketeers. I think it's called Lorna Doone. Any of these old books, but editorial artist, book cover illustrations. Yeah, guys, that is it. So I guess the second part of this video, if it hasn't gone on too long and I'm able to edit it down, I'm just going to do a draw with me. So just to recap: cross train, cross train, cross train. Do challenges. Doesn't matter, 25 minutes, 30 minutes. If you think you don't have enough time, 30 minutes is enough time. Do a 100 heads challenge, 100 hands challenge. And remember that Parkinson's law where, the work will expand to fill the time that it takes to complete the task, right? If you say you got 2 weeks, you're going to use the 2 weeks. If you only give yourself 30 minutes, that's all you're going to get. And so you can do that over and over again each day. 30 minutes is not really stressful once a day. And then do it more if you can. Do the Pomodoro, which is, what is it, an hour? Hour on the clock, 20 off, 5 minutes off, 20 on, something like that, right? Yeah, try and do things that work for you. If you feel that you don't have time to do whatever it is you want to do, it doesn't matter if it's art or, drawing. If you're struggling on the white page and you're typing the story you want to write, anything that requires skill building, in a time where you don't think that you have time. I understand if you got family and things like that, but there are ways to do things that you enjoy, even if it's just a hobby. So I hope any of these bits of information, it's all out there. It's just fun to reiterate. And for the channel, the Crucible, that's kind of what it's about. We're taking all of our cross-training elements. We're not staying inside all the time. We're going outside and to get refreshed. We're mixing all those skills, and then, we're obviously going to pour it out and see what we get. And hopefully, time and time again, that we're doing that, we're making, efficient strives to make the mistakes, not being afraid of making the mistakes. A mistake like this one. So this was on hardboard. Just yet another example of cross-training. It's hardboard. It was extremely slick. It's not resistant like the canvas, which is, it's easier to get used to. It takes a while for it to bleed into the canvas. It resists the brush more, whereas this one is a lot more slick. But again, with the cross training, drawing on the slicker paper as opposed, and then the smooth charcoal, the skills will get better, and you will get used to working on hardboard, which is, I want to get used to working on hardboard. It's cheaper. You can buy it at Home Depot, chop it to any size that you want. The scale again, right? And just go to town and build those skills. Get used to how, the speed of the paintbrush on the hardboard. Or if you like canvas, that's fine too. Alright guys, and so yeah, I hope you join me for the rest of the video and just draw with me. I'm going to play some music. You can mute me and just have the music playing if you want. Thanks for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe. I'm not sure if I'm going to get this video out on Friday. Sunday, I feel like I'm losing the potential for more viewers on a Sunday 12 o'clock before 12 a.m. upload. Let's see if I can, do the work on the weekend and then upload on a Friday.